Okay, my chiefs, this is the schedule and how to use the Excel spreadsheet that I've created for scheduling. So you've all seen this. This is the block schedule that everyone has, and it automatically counts how many senior residents, etc., are on each block, and the total in the ED is at the bottom. The other tabs we have are the requests for 2, 3s, and 4s, then the week count. So this goes week by week, how many are 4s, 3s, and 2s we have in the ED, and that will determine how many of each shift type occurs. I also put on here the weeks where we have ASEP, Thanksgiving, the various class retreats, base station training, etc. This is what the complete schedule looks like with the shifts. So the day shifts, RME day, swing shifts, including RME and fast track, and night shifts. This is automatically set up to calculate how many shifts an R4, an R3, and an R2 have on this given day. So the reason I did this is over here you'll see I have 14 R4s. I need to make sure that I don't have 13 shifts on a given day for a given class so that it's reasonable to make the schedule. That becomes more important when you move down lower to weeks that are not R2 orientation. So for example, in this block we have 8 R4s, which means I really can't have more than 7 shifts on any given day because it would be really difficult to make the schedule. And you can see that I've kept below that. There are 12 R3s, and I shouldn't really have any more than 11 on any given day. And that's just how I make it possible to see if I can actually make the schedule with that number of residents. This is the entire schedule combined, and then each tab is for each of the classes. So let's go to the R4s first because I've completed that, and I'm going to show you how I put this together. On the right, I organize for each individual resident a block that is reasonable. So for example, green is day, yellow is swing, and red is night. On Monday, I have 2 day shifts that are right there, bing, bing. 1, 2, 3, 4 swing shifts, 1, 2, 3, 4 swing shifts, and 3 night shifts for the R4s on Monday. I put all of those over here and try to make a nice circadian rhythm type schedule. So for example, you'll see that in the first week there are 14 R4s and then 13 in the second week, 14 R4s and 13. And then I put a schedule together. So resident A has day, day, swing, then they go day, swing, swing, night, night, swing. And then after I put this together to make sure that there aren't any domas and that there are some weekends off to accommodate possible requests, and I'm actually noticing I might want to actually switch that and that. I can switch some things around. Then I drop in each of the residents over here. What this calculator does is it actually shows you how many shifts each resident has in that week, in that 2-week block, how many night shifts, how many weekend shifts, how many PED shifts, RME, and fast track shifts. So after I calculate all of that, I kind of flip things around to make sure it's relatively even. Sometimes it's hard to even everything out. So for example, you can see that this person has 4 night shifts and some people have 2. That's just something to keep track of as you guys are creating individual schedules to make sure it evens out over the year as you drop residents into each of these blocks. If someone has a request, for example, let's say someone needs this weekend off and you can't seem to find a way to make that happen because there isn't a full weekend off that anyone has, you can look over here and say, oh, okay, well, resident L could work this swing shift and maybe I could put this night over there. I might actually do that as I go through and make some edits, but you can do that. I still have a lot to do, so you can see I've done the first 10 weeks for the R4s. I have to do the rest of it. For the R3s, it gets a little more complicated, and I'll come back to that because they work both junior and senior shifts. And then for the R2s, I will send you weeks 3, 4, 5, and 6 so you guys can get started. But what I do want to show you is if you actually use this, you can, if you want to switch things around based for some specific requests, you can look over to this block to determine who can work what shift. So for example, as I said before, say this schedule works great for resident L, but they need this weekend off because they're in a wedding. you can look at it and say, okay, well, K or I could actually do the swing shift for this person so that we could get them to the wedding. And then you look elsewhere to figure out where resident L might be able to take a shift for either of those residents. So the perfect example would be a switch there and there, and a switch there and there. That does leave this resident with a DOMA. So, but this is a nice area to figure out where you can switch things around. And the first 2 weeks are going to be hard because it is R2 orientation, so 3s and 4 schedules are a little tighter. It's easier in later blocks. Okay, so R2s, I haven't dropped them in yet. I put together the algorithm, and now what I'll do is I started with resident A, has 3 days and 2 swings, and then I just start dropping them in day, 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 and the calculator will automatically calculate how many shifts, how many peds shifts, etc. that I'm giving. So let me just demonstrate as I do this. I take resident A, who already has 2 shifts calculated and 1 peds, and if I drop them in their 3rd day shift, you can see that something has messed up because it should count a 3rd shift. So let me check my algorithm there. Oh, and the problem is it says R4 over here. Isn't that interesting? I will have to edit that. These are little errors that it's useful if you guys notice that I made that I can correct. So I pasted it obviously from another page. It says R2 here, but it says R4. And Excel will actually read exactly what you put in the cell. So when I changed that to R2, it calculated the 3rd shift. We've got 1 peds. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense and you guys can drop people in. I'm going to send you the first 6 weeks for everyone that you can start working on, and it obviously takes me a while to get through 52 weeks of this, so bear with me. I will send them to you as I get them. Thank you. You guys are the best.